Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who ate way too much pasta fazool. And I'm here to talk about Montana De La Rosa versus Andrea Lee. This is a fight between two girls whose backs are against the wall. I think each girl is fighting for her job here. You have a girl, Montana, who's on a 3-fight losing streak, even though she had a draw a few fights back against the most recent title challenger, Myra Bueno Silva, and I thought she looked really good in that fight. She's still up against it here with her back against the wall. Andrea Lee, she's on a 4-fight losing streak, and she's lost 7 of her last 9. So I'd say this is her last shot, although this could be a Sam Alvey situation with either girl. I don't know what the UFC's logistics look like for the flyweight division, but I still think this is a fight between two desperate fighters. And these girls have fought before. They fought in 2019. And I thought it was a really close fight, even though I still scored it 30-27 for Andrea Lee. But it was really close, a lot of close rounds. Each girl ripped the other girl to the mat. Montana took her down twice, actually, in round one. And despite being controlled, Andrea Lee, I thought, got back up and stole the round with some good striking. I think the primary difference was athleticism and physicality for Andrea Lee. She's the stronger girl, and on the feet, she's the more athletic girl, certainly, than Montana. And technically, she's better on the feet, and Montana's better on the ground as well. I don't want to ignore that. I think each girl does have technical advantages. I thought the same of the first matchup, and I don't think much has changed technically. Montana De La Rosa, if she gets on top of Andrea Lee, she's the much more deadly force. And on the feet, Andrea Lee is the much more deadly force. I don't know how deadly anything's going to be in this matchup, to be honest, but you know what I mean. Andrea Lee did win that fight, though. I think even the grappling in the end, she started taking down Montana, and I thought she was stronger and able to out scramble her and secure top position. And Montana wasn't able to impose herself on the ground because Andrea Lee was stronger. And I'll say this about Andrea Lee's most recent losses, that 4-fight losing streak. Every one of those girls is a beast, physically or athletically, or both. She lost to Miranda Maverick, Macy Barber, Natalia Silva, and Viviane Araujo. And she gave, what's her face there? Macy Barber an excellent fight, Andrea Lee. I thought she won that fight. I still think she won that fight. But still, those are 4 losses to physical forces. And in this matchup, Andrea Lee is the physical force. So I'm slightly favoring Andrea Lee here. And I will say it's a different picture. This is 5 years later. So Andrea Lee is 35 now as opposed to 30, and she's fighting a 29-year-old as opposed to a 24-year-old. I think a 29-year-old generally does better against a 35-year-old as opposed to a 24-year-old fighting a 30-year-old. But it's not like either girl looks unhealthy. They're certainly not the easiest girls to finish. Andrea Lee's been finished once, and it was by submission. She was tapped out by Sarah D'Alelio in Invicta. Sarah D'Alelio is the girl that ragdolled Amanda Nunes, if you don't know. She was a fucking beast. And that's the one girl to get her out of there as a pro. And it was a very close fight. And Andrea Lee, I thought, made some stupid mistakes in the end and just got caught in the final minutes. But she was also tapped in round 3 as an amateur against Caitlin Chukagian, another world title challenger. Not that Sarah D'Alelio was. I don't know why I said another. But my point is a very forgivable loss without having seen it. But yeah, it was a 3rd-round armbar. And other than that, every other one of her losses has been a decision, even when she's gotten the shit kicked out of her and she's been a step and a half behind, like Natalia Silva. Viviane Araujo really beat her up, and she's shown to be very tough. And for Montana, she's only been finished 3 times, twice by submission to Tatiana Suarez, who still has a shot at being the female Nurmagomedov, and she got tapped by Mackenzie Dern, who is one of the only girls who's a bigger threat than Tatiana Suarez on the ground. And her one TKO comes in round 3, way back when, to Cynthia Calvillo. Cynthia Calvillo, I say this every time I talk about her, but when she was good, she was really good. Really, really good. And she was able to overwhelm Montana and TKO'd her on the ground. But Montana, she's very tough to get out of there as well. I don't think either girl is going to wilt. And my top prediction is that this fight goes the distance. And you could play the over right now at minus 410. I don't know. I'm not big on playing anything like that. But Andrea Lee, now she's at minus 142. I got her at closer to even odds. I don't even know if she was an underdog or whatever, but the odds were tighter. I still think Andrea Lee has a slight advantage here, so I placed a small bet on her. But this is a fight where I want to wait for the props, really, because I think either girl, frankly, wins by decision. And also, it's because that's where I can place the smallest of sprinkles on Montana De La Rosa winning by submission in round 3, maybe in round 2 as well. I'm just plugging in wins and losses here. But I really think this one's destined to go the distance, and I do have Andrea Lee winning. So we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.